What if I told you that one of the most feared gangsters in American history got his scars not from a mob war, but from a jealous boyfriend? That the man behind countless murders cried like a baby in his prison cell? And that Al Capone, the kingpin of crime, was taken down not by a bullet, but by something you never expect. Stick around, because the real story of Al Capone is darker, stranger, and more jaw-dropping than anything you've seen in the movies. Alphonse Gabriel Capone was born in 1899 in Brooklyn, New York, to Italian immigrant parents. He was one of 9 kids, but it didn't take long for Big Al to stand out. Not for good grades, but for his fists. As a teenager, Capone joined the infamous 5 Points gang, led by Paul Kelly. It was here where Capone got his first case of street warfare, and his now famous nickname, Scarface. One night, a woman insulted Capone at a bar. He snapped back with a rude comment, and the woman's brother slashed Al across the face. He'd carry the 3 scars with him forever, and he hated the nickname. After a few too many run-ins with the law, Capone fled New York and headed west to Chicago. There, he met Johnny Torrio, a fellow gangster who saw something special in the young bruiser. When Prohibition hit in 1920, Torrio and Capone struck gold. Bootlegging. They didn't just sell booze, they built an empire. Bribes, backroom deals, secret distilleries. The Chicago outfit had it all, and when Torrio was shot in a gang ambush and retired, guess who took over? Under Capone, the Chicago outfit expanded into gambling, prostitution, smuggling, and of course, bootlegging. By 1927, Capone was making over $100 million a year. That's over $1.7 billion today. He lived in a luxury suite at the Metropole Hotel, drove bulletproof Cadillacs, and threw parties with politicians and celebrities. But with great power came even greater enemies. Rival gangs, like the North Side Mob, wanted Capone gone. So Capone struck first, with a blue. That would make history. February 14th, 1929, Chicago's Lincoln Park. 7 members of the North Side Gang were lined up against a wall by men dressed as police officers. They were gunned down with Tommy guns. Brutal, efficient. No one was ever officially charged, but everyone knew who was behind it. The massacre shocked the nation. Capone's public image crumbled. The government knew they had to stop him, but how do you arrest the man with an army of lawyers and hitmen? Enter Eliot Ness and the Untouchables, a group of federal agents who couldn't be bribed. They raided breweries, busted speakeasies, and seized records. But it wasn't a Tommy gun or rival gangster that brought Capone down. It was tax evasion. In 1931, Capone was found guilty of failing to pay taxes on millions in illegal income. He was sentenced to 11 years in federal prison, including time in the infamous Alcatraz. But prison didn't just lock up Al Capone. It broke him. At Alcatraz, he was no longer a kingpin. He scrubbed floor. He washed laundry. And soon, his brain began to rot. Years of untreated syphilis led to neurosyphilis, a disease that slowly deteriorated his mind. Capone began hallucinating, talking to people who weren't there. He became paranoid delusional, a ghost of the man he was. By the time he was released, he was no longer Scarface. He was just Al, a broken man, fishing in his backyard, convinced that gangsters were hiding in the bushes. So remember this. Al Capone ruled a criminal empire, but in the end, it wasn't bullets, betrayal, or even the FBI that got him. It was a disease, and the one thing no gangster can buy: time. Like, comment, and subscribe for more jaw-dropping true crime stories. And let us know in the comments, should we cover Pablo Escobar, Whitey Bulger, or Griselda Blanco next?